Kentucky defied the odds last season by going 8-5 with a wide receiver at quarterback. Now in a more traditional offensive set, can the Wildcats improve in 2020? Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, the best kept secret in all of college football. Today bringing you our 2020 Kentucky Wildcats college football predictions. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also make sure to check out everything down in the description below, where you can get exclusive content on our website, thegridironexpert.com. And also follow us on all of our social media pages over on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So guys, Mark Stoops has done a phenomenal job in Lexington. It truly is unbelievable what he has accomplished with the Wildcats. He's entering his 8th year. He's just 44-44 overall, right at 500. But he's led Kentucky to 4 straight bowl games and won back-to-back bowl games for the first time since 2007 and 2008. And last year may have been Mark Stoops' best coaching job yet, because for the final 8 games, the Wildcats used Lynn Bowden, a wide receiver, as their quarterback. And in those final 8 games, Kentucky went 6-2, including a 37-30 victory over Virginia Tech. So the major question going into 2020 is, now that Lynn Bowden is gone, the guy who was the leading rusher for Kentucky last year with over 1,400 yards and was also the leading wide receiver for them, with him gone, where does Kentucky go offensively? In theory, they can go up. They return 8 starters. And now they actually have a quarterback under center. A legit quarterback. Terry Wilson is back from his injury. Got injured early in the 2019 season. He was the starter back in 2018 and was one of the better quarterbacks within the SEC East. Very precise, very accurate, and a little bit mobile as well. So you've got Terry Wilson back, and if he's fully healthy, should pick up right where he left off. And if they don't go that route, Kentucky could also go with Joey Gatewood, assuming he is given eligibility. So you've got a quarterback under center now, a very capable one. They also have 2 great running backs, in Asim and Kavosiey Smoke. The 2 running backs combined for over 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns last year. And they'll be running behind one of the best offensive lines within the SEC in 2020. So Kentucky offensively can go up and will be able to keep defenses more on their toes this year, because you knew Lynn Bowden wasn't really going to throw the ball that often. But now you've got running backs that can actually run it, and you've got a quarterback that can actually sling it. Defensively, Kentucky will remain very strong as well. 7 returning starters from a unit that allowed just 19.3 points per game. The Wildcats ranked 21st nationally in total defense, and they ranked 2nd in the nation in passing yards per game. Their passing defense was 2nd in the entire country, allowing just 167.8 passing yards per game. And luckily for them, Yusuf Corker, the leading tackler for Kentucky, and Brandon Eccles both return in the secondary for the Wildcats, and they're going to be looking pretty solid. They probably will be another top 10 passing defense in 2020. So Kentucky, 7-5 in the regular season last year. Can they improve on that this year in 2020, assuming they can stay healthy? We think they open up the season 1-0 with a win over Eastern Michigan. They played the Eagles last year, winning that game 38-17, but the Eagles lose their star quarterback in Mike Glass III. So Kentucky, in the season opener, should take care of business. They then go on the road to take on Florida. And keep in mind, Kentucky won the last time these 2 teams met in the Swamp. Florida got their revenge last year, winning 29-21, but Kentucky snapped that 30-plus game losing streak to the Gators in Gainesville in 2018. So this is not a game anymore where you can automatically mark it down as a Florida victory, even if they have home field advantage. Cannot do that. You look at this, I think it's going to be a very low-scoring game. 2 fantastic secondaries. Florida's going to have one of the best in the SEC, and the same can go for Kentucky. Florida does have home field advantage, though, and I do think they own the quarterback edge with Kyle Trask. Kyle Trask also, to me, has a better core of wide receivers and pass catchers, don't forget about Kyle Pitts, the tight end, compared to Kentucky. So while I don't think this game exceeds 28 points or more on either side of the ball, the winning team will not score more than 28. It's going to be Florida that wins the game in Gainesville. Kentucky takes their first loss of the season. It's been close the past few years, expected to be close yet again, but the Wildcats dropped their second straight to their rival. We think they bounce back with a win against Kent State. They face two teams out of the MAC within their first 3 games. Don't sleep on the dual threat quarterback Dustin Crum either for the Golden Flashes, but I think Kentucky's defense can handle it. They're 2-1, and we're going to make them 3-1 with a home win over South Carolina. Last year, the Wildcats fell 24-7 to the Gamecocks, but that was really when their quarterback issues took place. Because after that South Carolina loss, Kentucky bounced back, got their bye week, and went 6-2 over the course of the remainder of the season. Went 6-2 over those final 8 games under Lynn Bowden. The game against South Carolina last year also snapped Kentucky's 5-game winning streak against the Gamecocks. So a little bit of a revenge game here. The game is at home for the Wildcats. They're going to be better, I think, offensively maybe than they were last year once again, at least when it comes to predictability. They're going to be a little more unpredictable offensively, even though not many defenses could stop Lynn Bowden in that rushing attack. But South Carolina has way too many questions across the board. Kentucky has owned them for about the past decade or so, 5 to 8 years, let's say. And I think they get back on track with a win over the Gamecocks. 3-1. Kicking off October, they go on the road to take on Auburn. And this is going to be a very intriguing game for 2 reasons. It's a cross-division game, so you don't see these 2 teams meet very often, so that's intriguing enough. But it will also be intriguing if, in fact, Joey Gatewood is given eligibility and if Joey Gatewood is starting and playing for Kentucky. Because remember, Gatewood did transfer from Auburn to Lexington. So this game is on the Plains, though, down at Jordan-Hare Stadium. And Kentucky's going to take on Bo Nix and new offensive coordinator Chad Morris and a very elite and talented wide receiver core that Auburn has as well. So this is a game that will certainly test Kentucky's secondary. It's going to test them mightily here, assuming Bo Nix takes that extra step forward. And this is also a game where Kentucky's offense could put up some big numbers because Auburn is going to be a little bit weaker up front. That front 4, that defensive line, is not going to be as strong as it was last year, arguably the best defensive line in all of college football. So Kentucky could put up some big numbers up front, could put up some big rushing numbers, but it is on the road, and I think Bo Nix and the Tigers make just enough plays against this Tigers defense, or against this Wildcats defense, and it's going to be Auburn that takes the win at their house. If this game was in Lexington, I might be leaning towards the Wildcats' way. But I think in a very close matchup, the Tigers get the win. Kentucky takes their second loss of the season, but they do pick things right back up with an easy win over Eastern Illinois. So guys, they're 4-2 right now. 4-2 losses on the road to Florida and Auburn. Very respectable. And look, the schedule gets a lot easier after that. Vanderbilt, Missouri, Mississippi State, 3 of their next 4 games, not too bad. We give them an easy win over Vanderbilt. Commodores aren't going to challenge anybody this year. This might be Derek Mason's last season down in Nashville. They're going to have absolutely no offense whatsoever. And their defense, yeah, it returns everybody. But they could return everybody every single year under Derek Mason, and they wouldn't amount to much. Just being blatantly honest here. So, Kentucky gets a win over Vanderbilt. Not much to discuss. They go on the road to take on Missouri. They get a win over the Tigers here. A Missouri team that I am not very high on, guys. I am not high on the Tigers this year. I don't like Eli Drinkwitz. I don't think he is the guy that's going to turn this Tigers program around. Kentucky defeated Missouri 29-7 last year, and that was kind of unexpected. It was a somewhat unexpected result, just in terms of how dominating that win was for the Wildcats. But now you got Missouri. They bring in Eli Drinkwitz. They have tons of questions on offense. Who's going to be their quarterback? Can they win solely on the ground with Larry Roundtree? The answers to both those questions are no. They cannot win on the ground. They don't have a quarterback. They're not going to be good offensively. Kentucky's defense is going to have a field day, even though the game is in Columbia. And the Tigers are in for a rough year, but Kentucky is on a 3-game win streak. They get their bye week on Halloween to take on Tennessee in Knoxville at Neyland Stadium. And guys, this is a Tennessee team that has very high expectations. This is a Tennessee team that many think could maybe break through under Jeremy Pruitt, upset one of the big dogs on their schedule, like an Oklahoma, a Florida, Georgia, maybe even an Alabama. Maybe a team that could win 8 to 9 games. I'm not going that far with it. But I do think this is a Tennessee team that will beat Kentucky. I do think this is a Tennessee team that can defeat the Wildcats at home. So we're going to give Kentucky a loss here despite them coming off a week of rest. You look at this, they're getting a lot of hype, but Kentucky's run defense last year, as great as their passing defense was, the rushing defense wasn't all that great. The rushing defense allowed over 155 rushing yards per game. And Tennessee has 3 very capable running backs that combined for over 1,600 yards last year. You got Eric Gray, you got Tim Jordan, you got Ty Chandler, all those guys back for the Volunteers that are going to provide kind of a mix and match for Kentucky to have to deal with both on the ground and also in the passing game as well. I think the Volunteers take care of business here, and Kentucky ends their 3-game losing streak in Knoxville. They do bounce back, though, with their win against Mississippi State. So they beat Mississippi State, guys, and look, through 10 games, they've only got 3 losses. We've got about 7-3 going into their final 2 games. That's pretty dang good. Yes, all 3 of them are in conference play, so SEC title aspirations, SEC East title aspirations are kind of out the window. They're still looking very solid. They've clinched bowl eligibility. They're going to their 5th straight. And you look at this Mississippi State game, yes, they lost to the Bulldogs 28-13 last year, but Mike Leach comes in trying to implement that new air raid offense. Kentucky, I like the fact they're hosting this game in Lexington, and the fact that Mississippi State's going to pass the ball so much actually, I think, benefits Kentucky. Because, yeah, it's going to be tough to stop, but they had the 2nd-ranked passing defense in the country last year. This is going to be a very strong secondary yet again for the Wildcats. So this game is going to be more difficult for Mississippi State's offense, and I think it will be for Kentucky's defense. The game in Lexington, angry after a loss against Tennessee, I think Kentucky not only shuts down the air raid offense, but puts up some big numbers of their own, as I think the Bulldogs' defense that only returns 4 starters is going to struggle mightily in year 1 under Mike Leach, a guy that's never really been known for his defensive mind. They're 7-3, so they are going bowling for the 5th straight year under Mark Stoops. They're going to clinch a winning record regardless. They fall to Georgia at home, and I think that's kind of expected. A Georgia team that Kentucky hung with last year, only losing to them 21-0. But that was also a Georgia team that was so stagnant, so predictable, so boring offensively. And that's not going to be the case in 2020. They bring in Jamie Newman and JT Daniels, both transfer quarterbacks. They bring in Todd Monken, the new offensive coordinator. They've got a very young but talented wide receiver core. And they have arguably the best defense in the country this year. This is a Georgia team that, if the offense turns a corner under Todd Monken, and I think they will be contending for a spot yet again in the college football playoff. But they can't do that if they lose to Kentucky. And they come on the road, take care of business in Lexington. And then you go to this Governor's Cup game at Louisville, a game that Kentucky has dominated the past few seasons, defeating the Cardinals by a combined score of 101-23 over the past 2 seasons. 101-23 over the past 2 seasons, winning against the Cardinals 45-13 last year. I believe they had 517 rushing yards against the Cardinals, only 4 passing yards against the Cardinals last year when Lynn Bowden was under center. But this game is on the road at Louisville, and this is the Louisville team that went 8-5 last year as well in year 1 under Scott Satterfield. And they return a lot of talent offensively, a lot of speed offensively, have a little bit more consistency on the defensive side of the ball, and I think their defensive numbers improve by at least a touchdown. I think by at least a touchdown they improve, and I think Louisville and the Cardinals get a win at home. Scott Satterfield wants this win, guys. It's a rivalry game. It's the season finale. It's senior night. All those things contributing to this. Kentucky coming off a maybe hard-fought battle or blowout, possibly, to a very talented Georgia team, so maybe a slight Georgia hangover. And I think the Wildcats drop this game on the road to their in-state rival to finish 2020 at 7-5. And to me, that's a fantastic year for the Wildcats. 7-5, you're going to your 5th straight bowl game. You have another chance at an 8-win season. You have a chance to win your 3rd straight bowl game. I don't see what's not to like about that. I get maybe you could sub out the Louisville game with the win, so maybe you bump Kentucky up to 8-4. But after that, I really don't see any other game on the schedule that the Wildcats could go win, maybe with the exception of the Tennessee game. I just don't see this Kentucky team getting over the hump to get to that 9-win season. I know they did that a few years ago. I know they had a 10-win season back in 2018. But this year, I just don't see Kentucky winning 9 games in the regular season. We've got them at 7-5 in 2020, 8-4 at best. But still a remarkable job that Mark Stoops is doing down in Lexington. And once again, like we said with the offense, the only way to go for Kentucky is up. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, and share our videos. And also make sure to check out everything down in the description below, where you can visit our exclusive website, our official website for exclusive content, thegridironexpert.com, and also receive updates on our social media pages over on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And once again, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.